This is the one. Yes. I'll pull. Yeah. This is the way I'm going to head. Yeah. I think we kind of previewed this maybe earlier this week. So kind of heading in this direction with a rotated or revolved auxiliary view. Yeah. Let's see. Get my inch template open then. On my B size sheet. I only opened my B size sheet. I'm not sure. It may fit on a couple different sheets. So if you choose one that you have multiple sheet selections, that's fine because I'm not concerned which one you fit on there, you know. This one gives me the most room for sure. Plenty of tons of room here for this one, but so I'll just leave my B size sheet up. Looks like I did this at a 1-to-1 on a B size sheet, so it's a pretty small object. So I'll run with that here. And I just need to open that PDF. That one from the textbook, yeah. Let's see what my part envelope size is here. 3 inch by 2, 3 wide, 2 deep by something tall, 0.75 by another 0.75. So that's an inch and a half. That's up to the center. From bottom up to the center is an inch and a half. And then I've got a radius of another 3/4. What is that? 2 1/4. So that should be my part height is 2 1/4. 2 1/4 by 3. Yeah. By 2 inches deep. Okay. This is a little bit more of a rectangular. Feel like I can use my my traditional layout a little bit here. I will. Heck yes. I think Kennedy's just barely logging on here. We'll get just a second. Otherwise, I'm going to crash her computer. But yeah, and what if it's like spinning wheels and won't log in? What's your secret there, Abby? You just like Control Alt Delete while it's doing its and it. Oh yeah, see if it'll like get synced up to our server a little faster, maybe. It's what's that? Um, I don't know. Oh, hey, yeah, maybe we're glad we didn't jump ship on that thing. It did finally log on. Cool. All right. Yeah, so now I can throw my screen to you there. All right. Yeah. Sorry, on my other screen, I have the home screen of ISU, and it kind of drives me crazy because it's that live like video that is continuously looped, which I like, but it's really distracting in my peripheral vision on my other screen here. So let me there we go. Okay, yes, back to this. Back to part envelope here. Yeah, that's the one I want to share. Got it. Yeah, what am I drawing? Two and a quarter by three, I think. Three wide, three, yep, in the width. Two and a quarter tall is what I calculated. Oh yeah, this is three by two and a quarter. Is oh wait, so I did a little math. Yeah, yeah, it's like a stack of like that's yeah, it's three quarter and three quarter. Yeah, I'm obviously a little more familiar with this. I've at least drawn it once, but yeah, they've got these to stack up. Then we've got a radius of three quarters, so I added all those up, or I could pull out my handy dandy calculator. That's 3.72 and a quarter right there. Heck yeah. Or we could do some, yeah, don't scale my screen, especially the upfront screen. Yeah, it's ginormous. Good point. And then I've just got to do 2 inches deep of that part there on the depth. So I'll draw another one up here, a couple few inches. It seems like is a good amount. Right, two sounds right to me. That one's 2 inches deep. So that was a yep, 3 by 2. Yeah, 3 by 2. Heck yeah. And then this one I might start with the top view actually. I just feel like looking down on this. So this is gonna be my front view surface here, and top view surface here, right where this hole is. So I think I'm gonna start with my top view of this. I could start with either one, but I do think I will start with my top. Maybe it's because of the twisted nature of this part on top that will be a little harder to draw in the front view. It'll be a distorted, this will be a foreshortened surface in our front view. So I'm kind of avoiding it and hoping I can project some stuff down. In the top view, it won't be so hard. It'll be oriented to where I'm looking down on it, and I think I can use the dimensions that it gives me to at least draw in its kind of rectangular view. Is why I'm leaning towards starting on top. Plus the base components details I'll see as visible lines in the top. So yeah, this might be one where I just looking at it this morning, I'll start with my top. I could start in the front view, but I think I'd have I would run into some dead ends until I could project down. So top it is, and I think actually the footprint of that base plate there. So I'll trace around that. I think it does have radius corners, but I'll just trace it all the way around. Visible lines. Enter. All right. It's gonna look like that. I could draw this anyway. Yeah, those corner radiuses are a 0.25, it looks like, all the way around, I'm assuming. Would have been nice if they put an amount, so we will. Four of those. And then we've got this whole pattern here that it says is coming in a quarter, oh, they're quarter diameter, sorry. And I don't really know if they give me any dimensions for those, kind of, unless I'm missing something. I've got the quarter dimensions here, which is this upper plate, quarter, quarter, quarter. I feel like this is lacking in information. Well, right here. Yeah, so I do think they're concentric, right? So I think if I have this radius, then I do believe this will be placed concentric. It doesn't explicitly tell me that or give me a dimension, so I'm going to assume that these are the radius corner and the hole feature, which is a real common thing that we come across in a lot of our part drawings. It's not always the case. So this could be a good question. This would be something that I would maybe question and not just assume they're concentric, even though sometimes they are, and in our case, a lot of the times they are. So I'll proceed with that. If that's the case, then that means they're a quarter inch in, right? A quarter by quarter. And so I could do, I don't know, what it makes me think is I could do a like an offset of my upper rectangle, just the way I drew. I might be able to do an offset of a quarter inch. Um, I could do all these ones individually, but what I guess what I'm looking for is maybe just some construction line work that would be the centers of those holes. I think I could have probably done a fillet radius and it might throw in a center. Like if I reference the radius when I go to drop my hole, my circle here, I think the radius might have a center mark that I could snap to as well. So that would be okay. You could radius the outside corner first. Definitely different ways. This is just some way. And then let's go this way. I'm just going to turn these to construction work. Be right there. And then it has some holes. Or I can do my radius now too. These are 1/4 inch fillets. Yeah. Radius. There's my radius. 1/4 inch fillet from one to the other. Should have selected multiple. That's the story of my life with fillet command. I want the same radius. Yes, that's great, but I want to do multiple. Perfect. It's one I forget until I do it one time. All the commands they haven't made continuous, that's one of them. And then these are 1/4 inch diameter holes, right? So they're just a 1/4 inch diameter means they're an 1/8 inch radius, or you can draw by diameter, but mine's an 1/8 inch radius. Looks like that. You'll just copy these. You could array them. You could mirror them. I'm just going to do a simple, I've only got 4 of them to do, so I'm just going to do simple 4 copy. Yeah. And then I think I'm going to draw some center lines on this. So what I want to know is how that piece is like twisted. And I think it's twisted 30 degrees. It's a good polar snap uh, measurement here. 30 degrees. And it's an inch wide. Yeah, I think this is also located symmetrical. Another thing that they would like to tell us that maybe like what I'm viewing is this hole in the center line or the center axis through this hole could be just centered all the way down through the part. So so I'm going to draw some center lines on my base here. I'm going to get that center cross for sure where maybe all the part alignment is. Then from there out, I can probably draw some lines that are 30-degree angle and offset them or something. Hit offset. Yeah, a lot of different ways I can get there. I'll just kind of chip my way through there. But I just kind of want to know its overall part size. It's 1 inch wide or kind of deep, slightly twisted in our view, but kind of the depth. And the width of it actually this way is this 3/4 doubled, so 1.5 inches. So this would be 3/4 this way and 3/4 this way. So we have 1.5 inches by 1 inch part that's going to be it's going to look like a rectangle on top. So let's see what we do here. Definitely, I think knowing where my center here, my geometric center of this part is going to be a good reference. And from here, it's like 30 degrees off. So I feel like I could, I don't know. You could do what I want to know is, a 30 degrees off here. So I have 30 degrees selected. My O snaps on 30 at least. So I can draw, this is just a reference line. I might just draw it out here, kind of long and big. I don't have to draw this long, but I'm just pulling this out as just reference material only. But essentially from here, 30 degrees here, I can actually offset this line a 1/2 inch on each side, and that would be kind of the 1 inch width of the part. And then from center out this way, I could draw a line 90 degrees here and offset it.
I just drew things like aligned and then did the rotate command and then
That's a super good way too, because I could actually draw this shape way out here and move it into position and rotate it in, right? Like, yeah. So, yeah, that makes me think of different ways to draw it too. Yeah, yeah. Essentially, I could say that. Oh, I know this little rectangle is going to be 1.5 by 1 inch here. That's what the rectangular part is going to look like, and I might be able to move this by a geometric center. So I'm going to select this thing as a move by what? By its geometric center. I have that O snap on, right? It's this one. I'll jump off the screen so Asher you can get in here. Let's see. Yeah.
It was 1.5 by what?
Oh yeah, it's 1.5 by 1. Yeah. Yeah, that little one is hidden right there. 1 by 1.5 is what I calculated. And what I'm doing is that move by geometric center. I'm going to drop it onto this geometric center. And then yeah, we could use this rotate command, which haven't used a lot, and it didn't serve me well when I rotated my center mark the other day. I had to actually delete those things because it just didn't, I don't know, feel like I followed all the right steps when I did that. But so anytime that happens, you're always like, well, is this going to work for me? I don't know. Failed on me before, and I should have rotated that by the center here. It wants to know. So if I'm going to rotate this, it's by maybe this center base here. And I can just like pull from this to this because I have that reference line there now. Or you could type in the degree. Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's safer. Maybe that's part of my problem is I'm just going to my snaps and it's slightly decimally wrong. But yeah, I love that. I think there's a lot of different ways you can get there. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the way I just did this, remember that you don't have, you can draw some geometry outside of wherever and move it into position. That's all I did is I knew the rectangular form of this. And so draw it somewhere where it's nice and clean and then move it into position. That's a good drawing technique. Constrain it later. That's good. Yeah, now I can start to work on some of its details. And maybe this is getting a little excessive here, but it's really not hurting anything. But yeah, and we'll have a center line the other way eventually here, this line. 'Cause it has a hole through there, right? So I should have made that at least construction material, but there's a hole through it here, right? There's a hole in the top here, and I've got some grooves down the side. So could work this anyway. I try to think systematic, so maybe I'll work on its outer surface. It doesn't really matter at this point. I could do holes or whatever. So hey, I'm teaching right now. All right, sounds good, Lucas. Heck yeah. I'm teaching. That just means that sometimes teachers aren't teaching, and that's what that begs that question. Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah. So I'll put some. I haven't seen what the hole size is. It's a 3/4 inch diameter hole through there. So that'll show up as hidden. So that's half a 3/4 for the extents of this. What this will look like in the top view. Two lines that are half a 3/4. We've memorized by now for sure, right? It's 3/8, 0.375, and then we've already memorized the decimal equivalent of that, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's helpful. But that's what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put these two sides in here. If I just offset this line here, 0.375 is what I'm going to do, and then I'm offsetting this. These will become hidden. I can push them to hidden line stuff now before I forget, but that's the through hole on the top. And then we have the little top hole. I didn't see its diameter when I looked, but it's a 1/4 inch diameter. We always have uniform parts. Well, those are 1/4 inch diameters, right? Yeah. Double check that though. Yeah, 1/4 inch diameter. So I've already drawn those. So I'll just copy another one of those over this one of these things. Same size. There should be one right in the top here. And then the grooves on the side, I think they're a 1/4 inch in. I think that's when I was over here looking. All I'm going to see that's going to be different is I'm going to see this surface appear as a line that's a hidden line. And so it's a 1/4 inch in from my edge of my rectangle. I don't think I can really, I think I built mine as a rectangle, so mine's all, I could explode this thing. And then I could offset that. Maybe I'll choose explode my rectangle. And now I've got individual part sides here. I'm just doing this so I can just do another offset of just a quarter-inch offset here, 0.25. And if I offset that in and offset this one in, those will also be hidden lines, that slotted surface on the side of this feature. So I'll just match these properties. So I've got these double hidden lines here. One's a hole, one's the slots in the side. That's probably about its finished contour, really. Yeah, I think so. It'll have a center line. This I'll probably convert to a center line, or I can do it right now. It's going to be its center. Maybe I'll just do the extension that I need here. 0.25 extension. Okay, yeah, that's getting close here. So let's project all this information down to the front view. For sure, I'm going to have in the front view. For sure, I'm going to be able to see this surface. That's a 3/4 inch. So I'll have two visible lines all the way across. So maybe I'll box that in real quick, what that looks like, and then I'll project down to that surface. So I think so. Come over here and trace the bottom of that and go up 3/4, 0.75, crossed all the way. Yeah. Do a quick save as here. I always forget to save till the end. This is weeks 9 transition support. Ortho in class for me. Yeah, yeah, that's 0.75, this big thick, whatever it is, plastic, metal, something, titanium. I don't know. And then I'm going to project all the important data down, I think. Of the whole widths that I'll project down here in a minute. Maybe I'll just focus on this part first. So all of its corners, I think I'm going to project down. It'll help kind of define its foreshortened kind of surface, the extents of its surface there, right? So I'll have to keep track of which ones are which, but so that surface here that I can see the true length of it here is that foreshortened right here. And I'll do some more. This one, I don't need to pull them all the way down. I guess they only go down to there. So maybe I will tuck these up. Not that far though. I'm gonna just be careful doing what I just did. I may have bumped that thing around a few too many times. Let me be a little more careful. That I feel a little safer about. Once I start pulling these hot grips, I can kind of, I am known to push stuff out of alignment due to my non-use of F8 ortho mode. So if that's your friend, use it. Okay, so I can see that this is the front surface. Then there's like this surface that's going away from me. This one that's coming kind of towards me, and the back surface. Okay. So overall height is that. So I definitely can come down from center and put in maybe just the circle that's going to, well, not necessarily it's going to be an ellipse here, right? So I got to be careful. I do want to know where the centers are here. Maybe I'll just drag these down as red for just a minute and then I'll change them. I might cut them and change them, but I want to know that this is the center and I'm going to get a little bit confused. Maybe center down to here. And I think I need to know where the back center is. Yeah, so I've got these two centers coming down. Front exit center, back exit. And then I want to know where those centers, like what their height center is. So and I want to draw that line across here, and I'm going to create, a center. Yeah, I'm going to create this center because if I analyze this part a little bit this way now, so I'm going to say that the hole and the radius are concentric as well. And I guess what I can infer from this too is because they drug their center lines. It's one helpful thing when we drag center lines over like this when they encompass both features. That's one of those indicators that they are concentric. Same thing going on here, kind of establishing that overall concentric nature of the radius and the hole here. But I just need to know that's 3/4 of an inch up. Is that will be that horizontal line across of where that's going to take place. So those two centers I just dropped down, I just want to know where this line is going to cross them at. So that I can build my ellipse, right? And don't think that I'm saying that wrong. There's the eclipse of the heart, and then there's the ellipse of the part. Hey, I'm going to coin that phrase. First time I've ever said it, actually. I'm just like poetic. I'm a So that's what I gotta. So I work. Generally, I try to, when I need to do an ellipse or a distorted hole, then I'm gonna work off center and then try to define its extents, right? Like I want to know where the center where it begins, but I also maybe want to know its width, those major and minor axes. So okay, but it's 3/4 up is what I need to know now. So I think I'll just offset again. I'm a big fan of offset, especially when it's just linear length like that. And that's it. That's kind of the center of where this part. Yeah. And then I've got this big 3/4 inch radius ellipse here based off this center. And its extents are, if I make sense of this right, so I'm gonna do the front. I'm trying to do the front, maybe top radius here is what I'm working on. I can draw in the sides of this a little bit already. Up to there. So if I'm looking at the front surface, that's going to be from this projection line to this projection line. That's the front surface of this, slightly skewed, of course. So I'm going to kind of work to define its visible lines is what I'm working on here. The visible lines of this front surface in the front view. So from the base or from this point up, so if I just follow this down, it comes up 3/4 as a visible line here like this. And then it's going to be like domed over like a tombstone. Hey, this is kind of like, yeah, like this. This is Halloween. We're planned so well that we're doing tombstone looking shapes on Halloween. Close to. So now from this point to this point, this should be this radius that comes up. Of course, it can't be a circle because that's a foreshortened surface that I'm looking at. So it's got to be an ellipse. So I'm going to come over here to my ellipse command and draw it from center. Before I even draw it, I'll analyze real quick. Do I have what I need is the major and minor axis of that. Meaning, and I think of that as the extents of the ellipse, how far out from center it goes in both directions, major and minor, one's longer than the other. So if this is the center of that, then this is going to be its it's going to be its major axis. It's going to go from here out 3/4 and from here to here. So that's definitely one of the extents of the ellipse from all the way over across this. And then the other one is going to be up from here up this way. So I have points. What I'm looking for is making sure that I have snaps to snap to when I get into this command, which the one I'm going to choose is center and then choose the major and minor axes or the radius of the axis of this ellipse. So here we go. That's what it goes like this. Bam. And I could choose either one. I think I can choose minor or major first. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to choose this extent and then this extent. And I'm just using my snaps for that because it's not a linear length. I mean, that's 0.6495. I don't have it on my print or anything anywhere. I'm establishing it purely by projection. So I snap that there, and I could have gone it the other way. It's just slightly, it doesn't look as elliptical as those ones we were drawing on the last part. That looks good. And then I can just trim that. So I'll just spend a little bit. I could turn off stuff and trim, but maybe this isn't too bad just to trim these pieces out that are not part of my tombstone here. There we go. Heck yeah. That's the front surface foreshortened of a skewed part there. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll do a little bit more work here. Maybe I'll put the circle in and the front hole, I should say, this front hole. I haven't projected down its extents though yet. Like I don't have any projection line work for any of this stuff here. So I might just work this piece by piece a little bit rather. I'm gonna also have to worry about the slot in the side and where it enters and exits through here, but I think I'll just kind of work on the front shape. Yeah, I might worry about those in a minute here. So let's draw some more extents down here, some widths here of this hole. This is the hole right here from there to there. So let's project these down and through my part, at least through the front, right to here maybe. And another one. Project this one like that. Like, yeah. So those are the extents of the hole, which means that's going to be where I snap my ellipse. They're going to be concentric, so it's going to be the same center, but I'm just going to, and maybe I don't have one to pull this way. So let's just look. I'm going to pull this out this way. That's going to be the extents that way. And then I just need to know how far up it goes. So it's going to be some radius that I'm given here probably. The whole size is 3/4. So I'm gonna make just a construction line up that has an endpoint or something to snap to at 0.375 from that center up. Or I could draw a center down as well. It doesn't matter. But depends on whether you like to look up or look down. Maybe I'll choose to look up. Things are looking up right here. So I just need to know like 0.375. This is construction line. That's the end of the extents for this ellipse that's going to go in right here. Okay, so let's do that one. Should look like from center out to here and then up to here. Back up a little bit. That looks like a hole through there. Yeah, which one? Out this way? I actually didn't know because I just projected down the extents. Yeah, yep, these projection lines came down all the way through, and that established my I can measure it though. Mine's 3248, 0.3248, some odd measurement, right? But it should be the same in both directions here, 0.3248. So it is symmetrical from center out. This one is actually this is actually the true diameter of that hole across here. When we're looking at this, when we're looking at ellipse, generally we're seeing the major axis as true length and the minor axis as foreshortened. So that's what's happening here. Technically, it's true length or true height here of that hole. 3/4. Same way here. This is still 3/4 of a radius out to there, but it's foreshortened this way. Yeah. That one stays full. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll just put in a little geometry. I could also like now copy this over. So maybe I'll do that next. So this is like the front surface here. So now I want to know like where this hole exits through the plate, and that's why I dropped my two center lines down, is all this front surface I built from this center line. Well, this other center line right here is actually the back surface. So I'm just wanting to show the width of this. So now I'm looking to draw this back surface here, which is essentially just a copy of this. So I'm going to copy all this stuff. I could join this if I wanted to, but I think I'll just do 4 selections here, right? 1, 2, 3. That's the outer profile, and this one. And so I'm going to select those by their center, I think. I'm just going to move them over here to where yeah. Now that looks, makes my eyes have double vision. So I just got to trim stuff. Or really what I want to do is there's nothing there may not be stuff that I want to trim here as much as I actually want to switch from hidden to from visible to hidden potentially. So yeah. And an ellipse might allow me to break at a point here. So what I want to do is maybe choose what's hidden and what's visible here. So all this is going to remain visible out here on this corner, visible, visible, visible. So I'll see it until it probably hits right here, and then I'm going to have a line across the top potentially, at least initially. There's a hole through there, so I've got to address that in a minute. But for sure, these two little tombstones would connect across the top like this initially here, and that's where the transition will be from visible to hidden for this section here. So I'll change that up right now. So I think I can break at a point. So I use this little modify break at a point. I think if you type in break, it'll be maybe one that shows up. Let me see. bread. Oh, maybe I gotta get off my command. Break at a point is maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 down the list. The first break is definitely to put a break in something and create a gap. I'm just gonna break. I'm gonna try to break at a point, which I generally sometimes will just use the drop down here. It's this one. Break at the point. And maybe I've used this before, and maybe it won't let me do this. Maybe I've already tried this and it won't. So I think circles and I guess ellipses are both ignorant to that. Yours was able to do it to break, select my object. Yeah, maybe I just haven't selected. Now specify the point. Yeah, this one good. Okay, it will. I just need to continue the command, but I'm going to break it up here actually. I'm going to hope that this is the one that broke. Yeah, now my ellipse is in partial pieces. So it does work. You just, yeah, just I guess if I just follow the commands, it says, select my object, then select where I'm going to break it. What that allows me to do is now this is different pieces and I can push this to the hidden layer. Help my eyes make sense of this a little bit. So that's going to become hidden from there out, but I would still see that surface. Same with this. This will also become hidden so I can match those properties. That piece there, right? That's kind of that back edge that I've totally lost sight of. And then this hole it does show through. So what I'm seeing here is that as I'm peering through this hole from this surface, I'm going to see at least that much of that edge of that hole, and the rest will remain hidden from my view here. So I'll break this at 2 points. Essentially, I need to break this ellipse where it intersects this front ellipse, and I'll be able to actually see that as a visible line there. So I'm going to do that break at a point again. This is my thing that I want to break at a point. Select it first. I'm going to say there. I think if I right click, I can get right into that again or press enter to get back into it. So this is my object and I'm breaking it right here. Now I've got what I thought would be multiple pieces and it doesn't seem like it did. Maybe this is the one that I don't know what happened. It acted like it was happy doing that, but maybe I never finished the command. I don't know. That's weird. Is anybody else is having trouble? Yours is having trouble? Might be because that radius allowed me to break it and it's circular. So it's always, I always forget if circles cannot be broken and it looks like ellipses cannot be broken either. So I will then do where I turn one into, so I'll just copy that one twice over and trim it to fit. I could probably trim it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like I'm going to trim that one and then this one's going to become, there's always one more way to get there. Oh, that's good. Break with the it likes to do that, not break at a point. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll do what you're saying. I kind of like that. Here, I'll back up and do that. And so, yeah, and other people have said theirs is fine. So if I'll try mine, break at a gap and just see. So that, and it's even showing my gap here, I guess maybe. Yeah, that one does put a nasty gash in that thing. That's all right. Let's try it again. Sorry. Break at a, oh, I don't know what the heck. Oh, I can actually customize this gap a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't used that very much, but yeah, I like it. And I could have controlled that gap a little bit better. I feel like this is a problem potentially. Just in how, and I've actually gone the reversed way of my actual, yeah, there we go, back to here. I'm gonna redo that little gap in the bottom now that I don't use break at a gap with a gap a lot, so obviously I'm gonna struggle here a minute, but I'm gonna do it. I must have already done a break at a point here, so now I've got like multiple segments potentially. Maybe if I drag this back to here. Yeah, I think I actually did a weird break. This is already broken. And then if you're using extend here, that'll get you back to there, but a separate piece, right? Yeah. Or you can grab the grips. And it looks like once you break at a gap, it gives you that little triangular hot grip that you could grab and drag it back. But yeah, extend works good. More of the story is this goes hidden. Yeah. That looks correct. You would also have these You'd also kind of have the bore extents here. As we see this, in order to show that hole correctly, we'll see these horizontal lines from quadrant to quadrant of that. They will be hidden, so I can draw those in on hidden layer from quadrant to quadrant. And then that will look like a hole. Yeah, that looks good. Now from here, I think I'm going to just kind of pencil in what the pencil in exactly. I feel like I'm pencil drawing. Pencil in what that side slots look like from in this front view maybe first. I do have one of the extents that I can bring down. It's the right here is the slot width in its true length there, looking down on it. So it'll help me establish what that looks like in its foreshortened length there. Um, and so maybe I'll bring this one down here, and the one that's tilted towards us here, I'll work on this one first, and I'll go and work on this one. This one will all be hidden from our view from this corner back. It'll just look like, I think, it'll look like a little C, I think, with its yeah. Be
The
able.
holes at top like a through wall type hole, or is it like a grub screw?
I think it is. I think this one is just through the, yeah, like through the top, only not through all and not even through the bore. I think it's just through there. It's not clear, but I do think that's the way I've drawn it in the past, is from here only down through here. Exactly right. Like as if you were inserting something through here, and then this is like almost acting as like a locking mechanism. Sometimes we will lock down against shafts or something, a shaft that might go through this hole, and then we put, a little screw in it or some, it can be a lot. This could be configured for a lot of different things, but yeah, this could be, or something slides through here and there's an alignment that there is. Yeah, I drop it through here to lock it in. Yeah, something going on here. Pin, pin. It's not threaded, so I guess we're saying it's a through hole. So something sliding down in there, maybe. Yeah. But I'm going to do these are all quarter by quarter by quarter. So I'm just going to keep that in mind when I go back to this view here. I think I'm going to drop this the extent of that slot. That's a 1/4 inch right there that we measured, where we offset, and then I'm going to drop this down across the front here. So essentially that is, if I come up a 1/4 and then back to that line, then up a 1/4 and back, I'll kind of create the, mirror image of the C shape there. It'll be a backward C shape. So I think I'll draw that in. Some of it I'll just cursor. It's going to be visible on this particular corner. So from up, what I'm saying is from up here, it's like a 1/4 inch up. So I just cursored over a 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to go into that line I just dropped down, which if I have to zoom out, I will. It's that line right there, the one that's just past that center line. Let me zoom in here a few times, right there. Then it goes up a 1/4 as well, 0.25, and then back this way, right? And I should be able to see where it exits too. So what I need is the horizontal, like it's going to have kind of that same shape here. I could copy that over to here if I had, I could copy that shape over if that's what I want to do. It is going to have me trim this out, right? This is going to be not visible line work there. It's going to look more like that. I'm going to copy it over. I need to know kind of where that same, like I will have the extent of where it exits there too, right there. So I feel like I could construct this down from this point. This is going to be back to visible line real quick. And this is going to be coming across like this. I'll see the bottom of that slot. All that does is allow me to maybe I'll just make a copy of this now. The three pieces of this are like from here to here to here. Maybe I'll copy by this little point here, and it's going to be out to here, like that. Would make me trim this out because that doesn't exist on the actual part. And then I think this will just look like a continuous line across, right? So I can kind of get rid of one of these and maybe I'll just use this one and connect it back to here as it's full. So I'm just going to turn off my construction layer real quick and get an idea of what I'm looking at like that. Eventually I'll turn these projection lines to, or these center line looking things to projection. I just use them because they help me identify which one was the center line coming down. And I knew I needed center. But I think that's what that would be visible. So essentially, I'm going to have the same thing on the other side, a little bit different. It's the mirror image of it, kind of. But I'm not going to mirror that over necessarily. I'm just going to build it over there. But it's all going to be hidden. I guess I'll see it here. It'll be a C shape. But I'm gonna build it essentially the same way. I'll build the front profile first, and maybe I'll build the back profile, which really is going to go from here to this hidden line is where that will pass through there. So I'll turn on my construction layer again now and make a mess again a little bit more. Here's those two extents. So I'll do the front surface extent drop down first. So let's do that right there. That kind of allows me to draw the actual C shape here if I go back to visible line work. And from here up, it's still the same. It's 1/4 inch up. They go a 1/4 inch in to that point. That was the one I just dropped down. I'll double check. Yep. Up 1/4, back over. Trim out this. So I'll see that, and then everything else remaining will be hidden. Essentially, I could copy this over to this point here, though, and I think the way I did that was I just drew a line. Maybe I'll just draw it as a hidden line, since everything will be hidden over here. But from here back, it's going to look like I see the shape come all the way back to that point, the bottom of that surface. And then I have a place to maybe copy this little shape from over to there. Or I could redraw it too, but and there's yeah, I think so. Maybe it's not even necessary to copy it over there. I don't know. You just go this way. This comes through there, right? Maybe that's all there is to it, or am I missing something? I should see another edge, right? Yeah. Should I? I don't know. I did this wrong. Sorry, I gotta back this up. I went a 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. That can't be right, can it? I don't I can't. It's all foreshortened. Yeah, I think I made this one. Is this what I did this one too, though? I think I did this one wrong as well. Now that I think about it, if I just back myself up a little bit, yeah, I've got to remember that's a foreshortened distance here, and I've got. Oh, and I didn't do that. I did that correct over here. I think I just did it incorrect over here, though. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm right. I think I'm okay. I think I was following my. Yeah, okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. This is true length. This is 1/4 inch high, and then I went back over. So okay, never mind. Crisis averted here. Just feel like I'm missing something here. This gets trimmed out is what happens, huh? That I don't have. Yeah. This one here, or which one? This shouldn't be a 1/4 inch here. Should not be. That it would be a 1/4 if it was like flat to our eyes, but it's not. It's foreshortened and falling away. So that's correct. Like the way I even drew that was just with my projection from down from the top here.
0.22.
Yeah, I just need to project this one down. Why I'm missing something is that I haven't projected the back exit down here. So yeah, this is what that actually measures. Yeah, across here, it's a 1/4 inch here looking down, but it's not here. So as long as you projected those down, and that's where I stopped my. Yeah, that's good. And the last thing I'm needing is one more. One more projection down. Maybe this one I haven't projected down. This is the back, wherever that is. Yeah, like this. This is good. Really, those lines, I should have extended them clear to there, right? These should come back to here, I think. That slot has to continue back to that back edge of that. And then this one is overlapping. Yeah, I think this is okay. I think this is right. Because if I was to make a copy of this, I'm just going to look at this real quick. This here to here should be copied over to here. But this will all be hidden line work, I think. Is that funny that it almost looks like maybe how I've grabbed my part here. Sorry. I'm just doing a quick double check. Making sure I'm just seeing if I needed any more hidden lines here or not. But this should come forward from this point. Essentially, that profile is the same profile from the exit of it right here. So it's just that I need a hidden line from top. Like I need to draw this hidden line right there. And then I think I need to trim this hidden line right here. That is this back edge. It doesn't come all the way down. I just need to trim it. So this just helps. This is just me saying how it exits here or how it enters that slot is how it's going to exit through the other side there. And I can see that that's all got to be hidden. And this has to be removed. So all I have to really do here without copying and pasting that over is it just helped me decide that this has to be hidden and then this needs to be trimmed. And then I got to turn this off to take another look here. This correct? Is that what you guys got? Kind of mirrors this. This is what I felt like that looks like. It's kind of like this visible line boxed in here. That surface is foreshortened. I have the same thing going on here. It's like a kind of a mirror image of it though, right? Through its center. Yeah. You could have mirrored that, but you would have had to know which where your actual mirror plane is here, which is going to be halfway between these two right here. I could have dropped a center line, mirrored that over, trimmed it, I guess, to fit. But I think if I back up, that looks correct. I don't know if you've seen anything that I missed, let me know. But all right. The hole. Yeah, I got to project that hole down. These holes as well. I've got more to work. Maybe I'll keep working this little tombstone with these. And maybe I'll from here on, I think I will just add another layer. I got a lot of construction work there, so I think I will add myself a new fresh one to start with this next projection work. Just need to know this hole where it goes down. Yeah, and it's just going to go down and through this surface and exit right here, right? So I might just pull this down at least to the center here, down and through, completely through here. But it's gonna and exit the inner bore of the hole through hole where it meets horizontally, perpendicularly to that. It's gonna exit in this area. And we'll repeat this. There are some fine details of this hole in the top, and we'll probably come back to that once we get an auxiliary view. I'm just going to pull these down and through. This is going to kind of be trimmed out right here because between that two, that's actually a hole right here. And so um, initially I can put this hole through here, hidden line work. It kind of starts at the top here and exits, at least initially. And we may actually modify this a little bit in the future. Technically, at least the way I would see it right now is it goes down through and exits through the inner bore. And then it gets trimmed out here. But it actually would look at a visible line, but I'm going to leave that in for just a minute. I think I modify. I'm going to leave that in across the top because you would still see the surface that's not, but But because that hole's in the very, very top, I feel like this will end up kind of being just a slight little dip in this because yeah, but that's a fine detail that we can discuss here. Maybe once we do the eggs, then I think we'll see it. I think we'll see it pretty. We'll almost pull a dimension from there, maybe. So I think I will say that, and then I think I'm gonna start to. I gotta do these other. Gotta do my other holes through my plate before I get into my these ones here, right? These got to come down and through, become hidden lines, and then I'm ready to work on my auxiliary view. Yeah, finish off those hidden lines. Just mirror those over, huh? Maybe I'll just add a center line on those while I'm here. I'll copy that over. I have a point that is in common, that point, sure. Oh, I don't have that luxury. It's okay. I don't have a center line there to mark. I just do the other one then. Let's copy it this way. Copy this thing by 8. By there. I have that mark over here, right? That'll work. Center is center. I don't have center marks on these yet, so I'll come back to that. I can do them right now, though. I'm on the center layer. Let's just do them. Do one. I'll redo that one, though. I'll do that from the outer radius here, right? Yeah, that's way better. And I'll do my extensions. Copy that over too. When I have this going on, I'm going to pull these together all the way through. I'm going to show because I'm probably going to dimension these off of, some data under a good controlled surface, hopefully just in, an X and Y direction on one corner somewhere. I don't know where that's going to go, but so what I feel like is going to happen is I'm going to pull these together. Um, and you can pull these together anyway, even if I just move one, they're together. Um, And so that's fine. If I just pull one with the extension that I have, that works. These ones I'm going to pull together too, maybe to center. All I do is, yeah, something like this. It's not super critical on how you pull them together at all, but I do like this. Then I'll be able to dimension one, and because of this like horizontal and vertical relationship, I'll establish that the single dimension and I won't have to say typical or any of that. I'll just be able to establish those dimensions, and the center lines will help my eyes say that they're all in alignment. So I'm going to move these to projection work. These were just keeping track of the center. I don't think I need to keep that anymore, so I'm going to push this over to the first dimension, my first construction layer. So this one's going to act nicely as a through. I'm going to tuck these in probably, but I'll wait a bit. But essentially these I feel like would tuck in. Maybe I don't want to get too detailed heavy here yet until I'm dimensioning, but and then I would need a vertical one, at least in this front surface. So maybe I'll put that in as just, I'm just putting it in as a center line that I'll pull through here, at least from here. And then I guess I'll build it as as at least what it needs to be is this. And it would need to go up to here, but then extend beyond. Something like this at least to start with. Then we can work on our auxiliary view here. So I think I'm going to do what I did in my example, and I'm going to establish a viewing plane, and then that I'm going to look at this way and draw it that way. So when I draw it that way, to me, if I'm looking this way, yeah, I think I can still draw it with the tombstone look this. I mean, it's kind of arguable, like, well, if I'm looking that way, then the tombstone will be this way and down. So I'm just kind of thinking of how the shape will look here if I'm looking that way. If you were looking this way and you put your viewing plane in over here and look down, if I was looking that way, I think it would start. Geez, I don't know. It gets confusing to me, huh? Would I start with the tombstone down or would I start with the flat base, the tombstone this way? Think about that though, like it's gonna, yeah. Try to build my view. Well, I think I'll keep it on this construction layer too. I know I'll crisscross a little bit, but and if you don't like that, you could move it. I think I'll go down and towards me. And if I need to make a copy of one of these views to dimension, I will. So I'll stay on here. I need to build the projection plane, and I think this one will be friendly to us, right? Because it'll be in a 60 degree essentially, or whatever, whichever way you're coming. This is the projection plane though, one that's easy to snap to. Just pulling these out, any no specific length, just kind of pulling them out there. I think I'll offset this line down along that.
If my projection would be like.
Hitting your object here.
Yeah. Right, you said just make it.
Yeah, I think I would leave it. I would just leave it and just know that you won't probably use this one as your you won't use it to dimension. So we'll end up making a copy of this, and you can do that before, and I might too, because so I would let him like even though if your projections are coming, I might draw the part like up in here, and I might have to make a copy of several here. So or different viewports copy of this, yeah. So I'd say so I'll kind of act like mine's a little bit like yours. So I'll draw my shape a little bit close up in here, because you're probably hitting yours, yeah, yeah. And mine would too if I brought everything down closer here. I could see that mine would crush into it. We'll just see if you have room to build it, I guess. If you don't, then just pull these things through that and build it out here, if that makes sense. Like if you feel like you don't have room and you're going to crush, it's not everything's not going to fit in here, then just extend these out. And I'll have to be careful doing this also if I don't do it from start. But so maybe I'll try to think about. So I might build it way out here away.
Could you just do a viewing plane of the other side of
You
the
could,
tombstone?
yeah, come this way. Yeah, and then you would come this way. Yeah, I think that would be a legit way too. So we could think about that too. I didn't build that in my last one, but yeah, I was kind of evaluating that, saying you could also build it out this way, and that's and that would be fine too. So if I yes, I'll establish this plane out this way, and then you got tons of room here. Then you just need to think about if I'm thinking about this when I build it, and I'm looking that way, then I would see the tombstone. So if I'm building my view down here, this will be the tombstone view here, right? Like it'll be rounded on top here and then squared off here. That'd be how I would look. If I turn around and look the other way, I think I would think that I would build the tombstone down this way, right? And then it would be square on the base here. Does that make sense to you guys? Because I would walk around this part and I would look that way, and so I should see maybe I'm thinking wrong, but that's the way it makes sense to me. This would be rounded here and then squared off. If I'm looking this way, it's rounded here and then squared off. And that would make sense. They're kind of mirror images of each other across through that part, just depending on which way my perspective is. And you might think, does it even matter? I'm like, well, no, but it'll make me have to rotate. It'll make me have to rotate a little bit different, right? Or you might, yeah, power veto if you don't agree with me. But moral of the story is, and then I'll have this kind of like it'll almost be like this upside down looking auxiliary view, and I'll have to rotate a little bit more to get it maybe because the assignment's kind of like a rotated. I'm going to make a view that I'm going to kind of remove and rotate and put it in its orthographic alignment, and then I'll just have to establish, a viewing plane and a view label. So I'm going to label that view, and then maybe make some little notes about what happened to that view out of orthographic projection, kind of. So I think that's the only little hiccup in this part. So maybe I'll draw them both ways. Yeah, I'll draw my two auxiliaries the way that I feel like I'm seeing it. So I'll draw it up here as if you had clashing, and then I'll draw it down here the way I did it on the little example sheet that I have, which I think shows. Well, it doesn't really show because I've actually rotated and removed it. So, but this little thing I built right here, and I moved it over. And if you're here, you're going to build it kind of upside down and then rotate it around and move it over. That's okay. That'll be fine. So let's do it. Either way, I'm going to start with kind of an offset of some unknown distance. I don't know, from here to here, maybe. Let's just say, yeah, that's where I'll start. And then this is what I'm going to rotate. It was just this my the way I pulled my line out, I had like a midpoint of that line. That was actually what I picked as a length. It didn't even matter. I'm just out and away from it. I might view this as the top of this part here. So I'm going to offset this how what the height of that part is, and it's this height right here. It's 3/4 and 3/4, so it's an inch and a half tall. So I think I'm going to offset this again with a different dimension here. Offset by an inch and a half. That thing that I just offset. That's kind of its little boundary. That's the boundary of it. I might offset one more time for a center line on there just because it has all the circular nature of the part that's going on here. I think I'm going to offset and establish a center line here. So I might even turn these to construction, uh, or I don't have to, but I can trim them later here. But what I want is an offset that is actually 3/4, 0.75. And this thing here, so that's a center line of this part now. That one I will turn to for sure construction work here like this. So what I see is this is going to be rounded here and then flat here. So center line that way, and I'll put a center line in this way now, which I could project that center line. It's this one. This is,
Did you offset?
oh yeah, I offset. So that is a 3/4 inch offset. Let me drag this through. This is center line here. Yeah. So which offset? The first one I put was just here, and I offset this whatever distance out here away. Then this one is for sure an inch and a half, and then this is 3/4. And that way I've established a center cross of the part. Yeah, I think so. And then I could so now I've actually exposed this thing in its flat profile. So now I can use circles to establish its true. So the top tombstone is this, right? It's a 3/4 inch. I'll go over to visible line layer here. But I'm going to do a circle that should be a 3/4 inch radius. Yep, 0.75 like this. This is where I have to kind of think of my view. If I trim this off, it's maybe not looking at the view correct. I think I have to trim this. And then this is going to trim. This is essentially going to go away. And then I've just got to drop these sides down.
Below.
Yeah, it's gonna look like the opposite view. And so I'll draw that over here now. But this is the way that if I'm gonna establish this viewing plane, and I'll just draw this real quick. I'm just gonna draw, I'm gonna establish a viewing plane that's looking down this way. So I view that I'm just walking around this thing and then I'm taking a look from there. And if I looked at that, this is how this would make sense to me, is that I'm looking this way and I'm kind of standing over here looking this way. And so that's why my image is like this. That's how I visualize this in my mind as I walk around. I picture myself, okay, now I'm walking around this way in this viewing plane. I'm looking at it this way. This one's easier for me to see. For whatever reason, this is going upside down in my head. And I feel like I'm standing on my head looking at this, but that's not what it's.
Suddenly the part is upside down when you look at.
You're like, what the heck? Why is it like that? I'm like, I don't know. It just makes sense to me, but I have to view that I'm walking around this thing and looking. Now I'm walking around this way and looking, and so it's going to be a tombstone and down. Yeah, exactly.
Falling over it. Yeah, upside down.
Yeah,
Just walking in.
it definitely makes me scratch my head at times. I have to think, I can easily confuse myself. So, and then so if I built it the other way, yeah, I'd do this offset distance maybe this way. And depending on if you were clashing too close here, if you needed to come way out here, it's fine. I'm just looking to like establish some place to build this. If you were able to fit it here, you might have tucked it in like here, and then I'm offsetting this piece to that length. So like mine, I can probably build right here. I know I won't be able to dimension this great without making a copy, but I could build it here. And so I'll build it like, yeah, this would have been fine to build it this way too. We would offset this now an inch and a half because that's how wide the part is or tall. It's the height of the part. And I would still want to know I'm going to base everything off the center of this part. So I'm still want to know that the center of this is 3/4, right? Right there. And then I just keep track of what's visible and what's hidden. And then this one will have a center. This is midpoint. Just the nature of them, they have a midpoint, which is helpful for me to establish a crosshair, construction crosshair. Now I can snap this tombstone top like that and trim it to fit how it would look in this view. So I'm just standing over here looking at that, and I should be looking at something that looks like this. You don't have to build it both ways, by the way. I'm just doing it because some may have done this already, and that's either one is fine actually. I'm gonna have to pick one. I don't need them both. I don't need to do an auxiliary view of both surfaces. And then I would trim this like I did on the other one. Got a couple extra construction trims here to trim, but could have moved that to construction layer too. Maybe that would have been smarter for me to like me, I don't love to lose like information. I'm kind of like AI. I just absorb information and don't just delete information. I'm not like AI at all, actually, but I think if this is like that's helpful construction information. I probably shouldn't have lost it here either. Um, but like I say, I'm a construction line hoarding junkie here because I can just turn them off, and it's helpful if I need to correct something. So I should have left that line in too, just so I could see its extent. So I could measure it if I needed to, can see how I built it. But yeah, either one of these is going to work. That's I view myself as whichever viewing plane and wherever you had room to fit. Either one is going to be okay. This one's going to have to be rotated a little bit more, and I will like notate that rotation. Notate the rotation. I'm just going to finish this profile, then I'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll start dimensioning it. But what I need to do is drop in the circles here. So and I'll still do both myself so I can kind of notate the view, whichever one you did. So I'll do them both. You just choose the one you did. This one is 3/4 inch diameter, so a 0.375 radius is the circle, right? I'll just make a copy of that. Copy that circle down to here because I'm doing both views. Not don't do it though, just do one. And then I need to actually draw the little notch in the side there, right? So I think I'll just draw that um, or I could actually use some projection work here. This is the so maybe I will project, which is the depth of the slot right here, right? That's what I need to pick up over there. This is the hole. I just drew that already. I could have projected that too, but here's the depth of the slot coming across, which is a quarter by quarter by quarter. So this will be true. These will all be true length. So I don't necessarily have to do this. I could probably just draw it. But because it's skewed, maybe this will be helpful to have this to snap to. Right. So it's like visible line work that would come up a 1/4 inch here, which is going to be hard to draw. Maybe I'll stay on my construction layer and draw some lines here over the top. This is like totally offset it too. Yeah, that's a great idea too. So if you just want to offset these lines and then chop that out, that's great. Heck yeah. I like that. I could draw mine in with construction. This would be like 0.25. Then back over here, perfectly kind of 90 or 30 here, 0.25. Then it would come up 0.25, and then it would come up this way, 0.25, enter. So once I've drawn that, I can just say, let's match those properties of this to this, this segment, and this segment. I'll trim this out, doesn't exist right here. Trim this like that. That's the little notch, and then I'll just mirror that over, I think. So I need to mirror this, this, and this. And I'm going to mirror it through this center here, 2 points, make a line. Hey, we learned that in geometry too. Trim this out. Snap some center marks on here, right? Maybe I'll turn this off for a minute and go to my center layer here and turn off this construction layer. Might be helpful to have that on if I do rotate these snaps. I mean, because technically what messed me up the last one, I'm going to do it again just to see if it does mess me up, but I should be able to. Let me keep this on for just a second. Drop in a center mark. I'm on center layer. Here's my center mark to this radius. Love that. I should be able to rotate that. Rotate this image by its center. It could be that I just didn't grab the true center of this on the last time. And then and then I've got this pinwheel that I can spin, but I should be able just to snap it to this grip. It's probably just that when I did it the one time, I was lazy with my snaps and I didn't have it in orthographic true, like that. I never finished this one, but I will come back. So I'll come back and finish this this one. Since I'm doing double duty here, I'll keep doing it. I'm not going to stop now. I did think about quitting, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do it. Just want to project these through my part here. Excellent. Yeah, and what you said is great too. You could say, oh, I'm going to offset this 0.25. That's the bottom of it. I'm going to offset it again, 0.25. Now I just got some trim out to do. And sorry, my line command here. I would have these ones hook up. Yes. And then I'll turn off my construction layer for a minute because that's kind of makes it more to trim. And then I'll easily can see what I got to trim that. Got to trim that. And then I didn't need this. This is extra offset or this. That's not too bad. It looks correct, huh? Yeah, it's kind of a funny looking little part. Yeah, looks pretty anatomically correct there. And then I'm going to copy this. Before I do that, I'll definitely do my extents here. I never did extend these. So now when I copy it, I don't have to do them both. Sure, I'm grabbing its center. Like that. I'm gonna rotate it again, actually, but yeah, so that's a good start. And I think I'll take a break and I'll call this one part one and I'll stop my